Hello, my name is Casey Lang and I'm posting this video in response to the speech project number 1, in which we are asked to choose between one of 3 scenarios and describe how we would handle that situation. The one that I chose is scenario number 1, in which an associate is routinely late and this is having a detrimental impact on the morale of the rest of the staff. Now, the first thing I'd like to state is that even though it's not ideal, one would like everybody to follow the rules, so to speak, of each job, punctuality being probably rule number 1 for all of them. I do find a silver lining every time I'm asked to deal with a problem like this. Being late is something that's completely subjective. It's not that I, as an employer, hate that person. It's not that I am treating them unfairly. It's cut and dry. You got to be to work on time, and this is accepted universally. The reason that I find that silver lining in this type of problem is you can use it as an opportunity to glean more information and to provide some context for that individual, their actions, and what their future aspirations are. So the first thing that I would do is I'd tell them that I would give them notice. We're going to discuss this problem tomorrow at 10 a.m. The reason that I do that is because if you address the problem immediately in that type of fashion, they become invariably very, very defensive, which is just natural. They're afraid that they might lose their job, or they're afraid, they're basically just afraid of kind of the ramifications of what they've just done. And most of the time it's a completely legitimate reason. Their kid was sick, or there was traffic, or just something that caused them to be late. Very rarely is it, well, I just didn't want to come into work until 10 minutes later. So I would bring them in and I'd use this opportunity to talk about what their aspirations are with the company. Again, it's a chance for us to deal with the problem, and then at the same time for me as a manager to learn where they stand. I would ask them, do you see yourself staying with the company? Are you looking for a raise in the future? Are you hoping for promotion into management yourself? What are you looking for? At this point, they may say, I'm only working at this job until I get my degree, or I would like a raise, a significant raise in the future, or I would like to potentially enter management as well. At that time, you can deal with those individual goals independently. You could say, well, if you're hoping to get a degree, you are going to need this job to be able to pay your tuition. On top of that, the next job is also going to demand that you're punctual. So developing that skill right now, even though it may not seem like a skill, it is a skill. Developing that right now will be beneficial to you in the long run, regardless of which path you choose to take. If they want something within the company, like a raise or promotion, which most associates that I've had the experience of working with, that is what they're looking for, then it becomes a little easier for you. As far as discussing a raise, say the first thing that people who establish payroll want is a worker who's punctual. So we have to get to that point where you're there. Also at the same time, and especially for management, being punctual is not only a work demand, it is an absolute necessity. If the managers show up late, then that leads to all the other employees, and it also ruins your foothold as a manager if you're late, because they say, well, he's doing it, he or she is doing it, so that must be okay that I do it. So I would use that to deal with that problem. Now, whenever I've had situations like this where we've discussed an issue, I was a teacher for 8 years, so I had students, obviously, who had this problem quite frequently. But I would also use it as an opportunity to bring up other things. If it's negative, like not being punctual is, I would discuss some positives that they've done. And I wouldn't be trite, I wouldn't be cloying about it, I would just be honest. Your customer service skills have been fantastic. I would love it if you stayed so that you can continue to hone those and benefit us with those skills. So I would start fixing the problem at hand with the punctuality, but then I would move on to congratulating them for what they did right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.